will this administration continue to oversee the deportation of 400,000 people a year?
As long as Congress gives us the money to deport 400,000 people a year, that's what the administration is going to do. That's our obligation under the law. We will be strategic about how we do it, and the number of those folks who are either criminals or recent arrivals will continue to go up. But yes, this is our obligation under the law. You have a community of 10 million, 11 million people living and working in the United States illegally. Some of these things are going to happen, even if the law is executed with perfection. There will be parents separated from their children. We don't have to like it. Congress passed a law, and Congress appropriates funds to implement that law, and the executive branch's job is to enforce it. So the president can't say to the Congress, I'm not going to bother to enforce this particular law because these are really compelling people. That's not how democracy works.
Now rapidly deteriorated, the LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. Shut the fuck
Group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Somebody needs to tell the pro-immigration people that it doesn't exactly look too good for your cause when you go and start riots and then hold the flag of other countries. You're not exactly going to win over the hearts and minds of America by stirring up chaos and basically making it look like you're advocating for another country, like some kind of act of war or something. I don't know. This was weird.
Hey, I want to give a big shout out to all you pendejos and tontas over there in LA putting your hands on federal agents, possibly catching a felony case. You know what that does? That's making America great again. You want to know why? Because that's going to limit your ability in regards to your Second Amendment. Oh, and you know what else? That's going to limit your ability to fuck up this country even more and vote for another Democrat. You want to know why? Because you got a fucking felony. But you know who don't care about you doing the tontera shit you're doing over there in LA? With these ICE agents? The fucking Democrat Party don't give a shit that you're doing that. They don't care if you catch a case. They don't care if you go to jail. They don't give a damn about you. When the fuck are you pendejos gonna wake up? When are you gonna wake up? And furthermore, just to further let you guys know, put some salt on the fucking wound, a lot of these immigrants that come here from Venezuela, El Salvador, they don't give a shit about you either. So what are you doing, babosos?
Migration is not a right guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution to everyone anywhere in the world who thinks they want to come to the United States. Immigration is a privilege. It is a privilege granted by the people of the United States to those we choose to admit. Many American workers do not have adequate job prospects. We should make their task easier to find employment, not harder.
Hi, this is Jeremy at Numbers USA. There are two fundamental parts about immigration policy that anybody has to answer. How many and which ones? How many people do we let into the country and who are they? And nobody in the last 60 years has done a better job at laying out a vision to answer those two questions than Barbara Jordan. And Numbers USA was created the year that Barbara Jordan died in 1996. We've been advocating for her recommendations ever since.
Democrats say that illegals contribute to the system by paying taxes. In order to pay taxes, you have to have a social security number, which means that they have broken the law if they do, because that is identity theft. So that would make two crimes that illegals have committed. The original crime of crossing the border illegally, and another crime of contributing to the system, paying taxes with a stolen social security number. I don't think Democrats really understand when they say these talking points.
We're living in the craziest times of how could you vote for a Democrat? These are the same people that charged Donald Trump 34 to 36 times for falsifying business records. Meanwhile, the banks came out, got paid, said there's no victims, there was nothing done wrong, and they still charged him anyway. So when he goes in and he orders the government, and then he shows you that trillions of dollars has been sent to people who should never be getting money from us. When he shows you the United States government funded COVID, and then they've been funding the national media to lie to us, to give us disinformation. They attacked us during COVID and fucking forgot, and he's exposing all in front of us, stealing from us and killing us, and they're outside crying because he's exposing that and stealing from us and killing us. They are criminals. All of them need to go to prison forever. Every last one of them. Everybody there now need to go to prison.
Will this administration continue to oversee the deportation of 400,000 people a year?
As long as Congress gives us the money to deport 400,000 people a year, that's what the administration is going to do. That's our obligation under the law. We will be strategic about how we do it, and the number of those folks who are either criminals or recent arrivals will continue to go up. But yes, this is our obligation under the law. You have a community of 10 million, 11 million people living and working in the United States illegally. Some of these things are going to happen, even if the law is executed with perfection. There will be parents separated from their children. We don't have to like it. Congress passed a law, and Congress appropriates funds to implement that law, and the executive branch's job is to enforce it. The president can't say to the Congress, I'm not going to bother to enforce this particular law because these are really compelling people. That's not how democracy works.
Now rapidly deteriorated, the LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. Shut the fuck
Group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Police are now pepper spraying. They're throwing stuff out here in the streets. They're blocking eyes, blocking the FBI from coming through.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever this video finds you, welcome to Ticks. Before I start with this, because, you know, Caroline Leavitt, apparently she held a press briefing. I'm going to get this out the way. And I really want to get this message out to Black people, most particularly Black men, because the past couple of days, I realized that some of y'all are still weak-willed and bitch-made and soft, you know, on the Democratic plantation. And I know y'all think I'm on the Republican plantation or whatnot, but I'm an independent. But here's the beauty of being surrounded for the bulk of my adult life, mainly really starting at 15, being involved with the conscious community and not the pro-Black sector of it, because pro-Blacks support criminality, whereas conscious people evolve based on everything that is going on around them. Let me explain something to you. You're not ready for this. This is not something that you want. You're not equipped for a second civil war, because I know you think that you will be on the side of the Democrats you know, the Dixiecrats, the ones that whose people once enslaved you and you know, wanted to keep you enslaved and fought to keep you as a second-class citizens, the one that gave you welfare, that stripped you of all of your resources and dignity. You know, the ones that ignore you until it's like maybe a month or so before you have to go to the ballot box. The ones that elevated pieces of shit black women above you. I know you a lot of simp bitch made niggas who are all in my comment section, and be it YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, promoting the destruction of American society. What's up, baby? Those of you who are in favor of it, you're not made for this. You bitch made nigga, you're not made for this. You're not built for this. A lot of you can't even stomach being without the internet for 10 minutes. You can't stomach it. You can't stomach being without electrical power for an hour. You can't stomach it. Heaven help you if a cell phone tower goes down. You'll be throwing the biggest bitch made fit in the history of bitch made fits. Let me explain to you all, and I'm speaking to you all now. I dealt with that little sector, but now I'm explaining it to all of you. Let me explain to you what happens if quote unquote Donald Trump, aka the government, loses this situation, this foreign terrorist uprising that is clearly cartel and Hamas led, as well as other foreign countries. Let me explain to you what happens if they win. Or let me explain to you what happens if all of a sudden everything breaks out and real bullets start flying. Let me tell you what happens. First off, the grocery stores and any other places that have any type of food sources or whatnot, those places get raided. They get raided. As you saw, I mean, you saw people raiding gas stations and Foot Lockers and all that stuff. But let me explain something to you. If it carries on for a month, within that month, grocery stores and other places like that get raided. They get raided. The average apartment carries about a week's worth of food, maybe. The average home carries about 3 weeks worth of food, maybe. Maybe on both instances, maybe. So after a month, 2 months, 3 months, because do understand that if you topple the U.S. government, it doesn't mean that automatically the next day you get the trains running on time, quote unquote. What happens to you? Your baby needs Pampers. You need something to eat. You need medication. Grandma, grandpa, whatever needs medication. You need to do your laundry because I want you to understand the power grid will go down. The electricity will shut off. Water will shut off. There will be no food for you to get to because the delivery services will shut off automatically. So what happens to you by month 2? What happens come month 3, month 4, month 5? Where do you find yourself when, you think that sitting back and saying nothing helps you? You just letting the U.S. the U.S. government topples. Foreign terrorists, such as the cartel, such as Hamas, or even Russia, since that's your Russia, they take over. What do you think happens to you? You think you're allowed to live? Do you think you'd survive after 2 months? You think you survive after 4 months? Do you think you survive after 1 month? There's no other country you can run to The planes will stop flying. You understand? The planes will stop flying. Other countries will not take you. What's up, Carlton? Other countries will not take you as an American citizen. You'll be seen as a domestic terrorist, whether you are part of it or not. You will not be part of the global elites. You will be on the ban list coming out of America because they don't want your problems brought to them. Are you starting to understand what I'm saying? Are you getting the picture? Or do I need to keep spelling it out for you? You will starve to death. A lot of you will either starve to death or you'll die from lack of medication. You understand? This is why they say children and old people do not make it if there's an apocalypse. Those two will be the first to die. Women will die or find themselves chained up in somebody's bedroom or basement, used as sex slaves. Because do understand all this down with the patriarchy stuff. Do understand if it wasn't for patriarchy, women would not be safe. And what you're seeing right now, especially with Democratic leaders, they are trying to usher in a second civil war. They are literally pushing for this. Do you not see that? They are literally pushing for this, and they've been pushing and planning for this ever since you could say that it started with Obama when he was, celebrating homosexuality, but it definitely ramped up once Trump got out of office. The Biden administration, through the George Floyd movement, they defunded the police. And understand something, and I know a lot of wacky pro-blacks thought that defunding the police was a lie, but it was. You drummed a lot of people out of the police department. Ask Charles. You don't gotta believe me. Ask Charles. He's a cop, or a former cop, 20-something years, former military. He'll tell you. They forced a lot of police officers, both good and bad, out of the police department. They made crime, theft, which is the number one crime in America, is theft. They made that legal under $1,000. They made it legal. I covered all of this last year on the Embrace Villainy channel to the point that it was giving me headaches. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why is this legal? You saw businesses close all of last year in major Democratic cities that allowed theft. Don't you dare lay a hand on the thief. It'll cost you your job. Don't you dare shoot and kill the perpetrators who are trying to kick in your door and rob and rape and murder you in your own home. We'll charge you. Your life and stuff is not more valuable than the criminals. I mean, it was just that backwards. What's up, No News? Society was just that backwards for the past 4 years. Just that backwards. Trump, in the middle of his campaign, near the end, said he was going to deport criminal illegals. He was going to protect women, whether they liked it or not. And you had Kamala Harris sit up there and say that Trump is trying to take away a woman's autonomy. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you wanted to be raped and murdered. I didn't know that was a right that you wanted to have. You say that's how it was and still is in Seattle, where I used to live. Oh, Seattle is a true crap hole. Seattle's gone. Seattle's gone just like LA right now is gone. which is now with the way Oakland is going and San Francisco is gone. LA has fallen. California has fallen. LA is the last vestige. To the point where you have foreign nationals waving flags, their country's flags, all over the place as they destroy that city and attack police officers. Viva la Mexico! Well, then why the fuck are you here? Go back home. Yeah, because you know home is a shithole. And you're trying to turn America into a third world country. And I'm telling you right now, if the US government falls, that's exactly what America will be. And you will not survive. Because you're not used to it. You're used to your DoorDash and pulling up at, a Popeyes and getting 2-piece biscuit and a large fry and a drink. You say the old West Coast is going hard drugs legal in Oregon. Yeah. But understand, this is what the Democrats wanted. If they would have won the election, if Kamala's idiotic self would have been elected president, you do understand that all of these major U.S. cities would have fallen by now. They'd have been taken over. They'd have been overrun with criminals. Say the movie The Postman comes to mind. For me, it's the movie Civil War. Or Rampage 1, 2, and 3. The Democrats wanted this. They wanted ultimate chaos. You have criminals on the streets, most particularly young black males and females, looting all of these high-end stores or whatnot, stealing all the merchandise, thus shutting these stores down. Thus, the people are now reliant on the government. Remember, housing costs were out of control, gas prices were out of control and whatnot. It would have gotten, then the economy was out of control. Come this time next year, we would have been in bread lines and the government would have been forced to control everything, that including gas and food and medicine. Communism. We would have been in a communist society. Because crime and illegal immigration would have ran so rampant that society would have fallen. We'd have suffered a greater depression than the one that we went through. Do you understand? Are you not getting that? They would have sold this country out to foreign nationals. They want slaves to the government. Yeah, they're a foreign government at that. Right, communism. That's what they were trying to get us. They were trying to push us through that. When they were doing all of that, pedophiles in schools and men in sports, men and women's sports and everything, they were trying to destroy and weaken the next couple of generations of males coming up. Women are very stupid and malleable. They weren't worried about them. Here, we'll get you to cut your breasts off and be done with you. But you're not as a female, you're not a threat. The threat was the male, especially the white male, because black men aren't out here ready to take up arms to fight for a country. You hate the country, you hate America, but refuse to leave. And if somebody gave your black ass a one-way ticket up out of here with a $150K check, you still wouldn't take it. Because you know there's no other place for you to go except for here. You know it. You know it. You get mad at me all you want to, but you know it. You know it. Anybody that's done any type of study, especially over any country over in Africa, you know that they don't want you. They don't like you. They don't see you as an African. You say, I don't understand what they don't get. Why they don't get it. There are countless examples. Right. You can't go to South America. That's a very violent situation down there, no matter where you go. You can't go to Africa. You're nothing but a paycheck over there. They'll murder you over there just like they'll murder you in South America. You understand? Canada is way too cold. You're not going there. You're not going to Germany. They're just as psychotic as America. You're not going to any of the EU countries. They're just as psychotic as America. You're not going to Russia. Too cold. You don't speak the language. The food is terrible. So where are you going? I was just about to say they're trying to weaken the men. Yeah. What about Antarctica? Got a brother out there with a Tommy Hilfiger parka. Tommy Hilfiger parka and boots. You're not going anywhere. This is your country. If America falls, you're stuck. You're stuck. You're stuck. Love it or leave it, you're stuck. Racism is pretty much a thing of the past. You can't name me 5 or 10. Matter of fact, you can't name me 10 racial incidents that's happened since January. You can't name 10 of them. But you still crying about racism. That shit, nobody cares about that anymore. Yeah, Canada has an even worse socialism problem than we do. Yeah, Canada, the UK, Germany, Australia, all of the countries under the crown have it way worse than we do here in the United States. At least you have a president that's trying to fix it. That's trying to eliminate poverty. North Sentinel Island. Shoot. Soon you step foot on the beach, you catching the spear to the chest. Yeah, we all, if y'all don't know North Sentinel Island, yeah, they the second they see you on a boat, they literally start chucking spears. They literally start chucking spears at you. They do not welcome outsiders. They will murder you on sight. North Sentinel Island. Yeah, go ahead. We come in peace. Yeah, you'll leave you won't leave, but you'll definitely be in pieces. They'll have you for dinner. Yeah, that's the ultimate mess around and find out place right there. But you have to understand, you need to stand against illegal immigration. When Trump was saying black jobs, this is what he meant. Illegals are taking your jobs. That's the Democrat. Next thing to get people involved is the false flag race incidents. Right. And that's exactly what they do. You have a lot of black people running around here faking racism. One chick in Philadelphia put a noose on her own desk because she was mad because she couldn't get her way. She felt the white folks was racist, so because they would let her do what she wanted to do. You know, keep in mind, this was a city council member. She put a noose on her desk on a Monday morning, not knowing that they got key cards and cameras and everything. So, of course, they turned the rope over to the FBI and they found her DNA all up within the woven parts of the thread that made the noose and everything. Nobody else's, just hers. Yeah, she pulled a Juicy Smollett. You got a bunch of people now, black people pulling Juicy Smollets. You manufacturing racism because you can't get your goddamn way. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. But apparently the Democrats, they are organizing. They have these NGOs that are funding racism or funding these terrorist attacks. Let me see. Let me show y'all. I can't believe, I believe it, but I can't believe it. But as black people, this is 100% not. We actually need as black people to be, we need to literally be against all of these attacks that's going on. We do. Yeah, the police shootings ain't working no more. You're right, because what police shootings? Let me show y'all this. Because understand that they know that this is a coordinated effort and it's democratic control. We're going to get to this, then we're going to get to the press conference. But let me show y'all this.
After days of this intense movement, many people, including President Trump, are wondering who's supporting some of these rioters. Senior national correspondent William LaJeunesse is in Los Angeles with that aspect of the story. And look, William, if people just thought, oh, maybe that's imagination, there's video. There are receipts for this.
What's up, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere, right? I mean, sure, it's hard to turn out several thousand people on any given night. And so you're going to have the water, the riot gear, the coordination to get out all these demonstrators. You have criminals, you have professional agitators, and activists who support a variety of left-wing issues, and they'll take any opportunity to bash the administration. So one group behind the demonstrations is CHIRLA, Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. The IRS document shows $34 million in government grants, including 3 from President Biden's DHS for $750 grand. President Trump cut that off. It also gets state and city grant money for lawyers to fight deportations. CHIRLA spends $10 million a year on salaries, including $200,000 for the director, Angelica Salas.
So we are asking that everybody that got arrested today be released. That's right. We want them in their houses with their families, with their children.
Go fuck yourself.
CHIRLA also founded the Rapid Response Network. That's the hotline immigrants use to report ICE raids. It will then text these alerts so immigrants can go hide and activists can stop ICE operations.
And so I was in a room yesterday morning, meeting with the immigrant rights organizations, and all of a sudden everybody's cell phones started blowing up. That's when we all heard about a raid that was taking place in Whittier.
So another...
Yeah, because do understand Karen Bass is a part of this. Because, you know, she's a socialist communist. She was trained over in Cuba. You think that went away? Why do you think her and Trump had that contentious meeting when all of those homes burned down in LA? Well, we need to, we don't need to do nothing. Screw all them permits and all of that red tape. Let those people build their homes. You know what happened after that? Only one person had a home built. The rest of them, their homes have not been built. They're still caught up in red tape. Because California is trying to seize that land in an eminent domain seizure. A lot of that stuff, I mean, the Palisades, that's some prime real estate, as is the beachfront property where those homes burnt down. They're trying to seize that land. So they're gumming up the works with red tape so they can steal that land. They want the people to give up that land. So yeah, she's a part of it. She is a seditionist. Her and Gavin Newsom, Ilhan Omar, what is the little ghetto trick's name? Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Bernie Sanders, they're all seditionists. They're seditionists. All these California leaders, they're seditionists.
Organizer is SEIU. You see the purple there. They have 700,000 members. The union turns out big numbers. Others are simply there to bash capitalism.
We are the real workers. The working class is the one that builds this country. Yet it's the billionaires in power that continue to harass us and attack us and take absolutely everything from us.
Operation Healthy Hearts, according to the New York Post, handed out face shields and riot gear to protesters. Now, their kits include a lawyer's phone number to get out of jail, and some of these groups could face prosecution for aiding and abetting.
Yeah. There was a report, Josh Hawley. Hold on, let me find him. Let me show y'all this. And I like Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley is that's the dude up there in the he's a senator. Let me show y'all. Hold on. As you can see, our investigation into who's funding and organizing the LA riots is expanding because they want to know who's in charge of this. You understand? They're looking into where the money is going. He's done. He wants to know who's in charge. Where's it coming from? Let me see here though. Hold on. Let's see here. Matter of fact, let me give him a follow. Surprised I'm not following him. Let's see here. Because I think they busted one of the people that was involved. One of the guys involved who was passing out the gas mask that you saw. He's a Democrat. He's a Democratic operative. Hold on, let me come up. All right, let's see what he has to say here.
Lunatics who are waving the Mexican flag and other flags while they burned our own. What I saw was a bunch of lunatics who are waving the Mexican flag and other flags while they burned our own. And by the way, Jesse, we ought to penalize people who burn the American flag while they're committing a crime. If you do that, you ought to have your prison sentence doubled. It's time to get serious with these people. It's law and order time in America. No more of this nonsense. What I saw was a bunch of lunatics who are waving the Mexican flag.
Yeah, he's right. If you burn the American flag, you definitely need to go to prison. Especially if you call yourself trying to be, because I mean, in all honesty, you're a seditionist. You're a terrorist. If you burn the American flag but think that you're going to still live here with like nothing happened, you're crazy. That's like putting your hands on my kid and, you know, expecting to still be my roommate. Are you crazy? Anyway, let's get back to this.
They might think they're making the community safer, but they're not. And we won't put up with that, and we're going to take criminal action against those type of organizations.
So the bottom line is, Harris, California is loaded with nonprofits that feed off taxpayer money. They can turn on a crowd in minutes, and we're seeing that here, now that coordination in other cities. Back to you.
Yeah, and that's the next part of all of this, too. I'm going to get to that because this is spreading and it's happening so quickly. So how does it happen that they have so much in common as it moves? I'm glad you're on it, William. Great job. Thank you. The dangerous chaos is now on the East Coast. Officers arrested more than 80 people as thousands of them were flooding the streets of New York City. And a terrifying scene in Chicago. This is just not okay. A driver plowed a car through a crowd of hundreds of anti-ICE demonstrators, but there's law enforcement on the ground too. Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
If you ask me, if you're out in the streets, you're a speed bump. You out in the streets protesting like that, especially a protest like this, where you're protesting against the government, not like a cop that may have shot a kid, or you're protesting against some stupid vote or something. You are protesting against the safety and security of the United States, protecting a U.S. city, a U.S. territory from foreign invaders. To me, you are a seditionist, which is the very next thing next to a traitor. You don't get any rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you can and say will be used against you. And that's at the very least. I mean, there was a time in this country where traitors used to like swing when the wind blew. You would just like, these would be your toes, your feet. You would swing as the wind blew. There used to be a time when that was for real, because none of this, you can do none of this in any country in the world. Not a one. Not a one. They wouldn't pull out rubber bullets. They use the real thing. They pull out tanks and the army and blow your brains out, because you're not going to overthrow them or speak against them. They don't tolerate this. This is intolerable. This is intolerable. But you can pull this in the United States because we're soft like that. This is why I say Donald Trump needs to take the kid gloves off. They need to start splitting wigs, like literally start splitting wigs of people who loot and people who attack law enforcement. The second you throw a brick at a cop, you get your brains blown out. Especially at a protest like this. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is a hostile takeover. You have foreign nationals trying to take over U.S. cities. This is a terrorist. As far as I'm concerned, this is a terrorist attack. You tell me how you see it. Looks like a terrorist attack to me. One of my friends on Facebook letting people know where ICE is in LA. He needs to be charged with sedition. Yeah, a covert invasion. Exactly. The barbarians have entered Rome. Yeah. What's up, Detroit? Oh, what's up, Blue Boy? I forgot to say hi to you. You'd be a human wind chime. Yeah. Like Bastian said, tolerance is extinction. Yeah. X-Men 97. Yeah, tolerance is extinction. I would agree if Trump should put martial law on democratic cities. Right. And by the way, Gavin Newsom's little lawsuit removed the military. The courts was like, no, you good. No, you good. They should stay. This is how the courts responded. Hey, Gavin, no, we gonna let it stand. We're gonna let the U.S. military continue to do what they're doing in LA because you have no control. Because, and I want y'all to understand what dawned on me the other day is that if you are, it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. If you were born and raised in America and you are a government, if you are a government employee, especially like a mayor or a governor or a senator or a congressman, whatever, your number one duty when you were sworn in was to uphold the Constitution and protect the American citizen people, not foreign nationals. The way that I look at it, these people that are these mayors and governors that are over sanctuary cities and whatnot, these people are cartel controlled. You were cartel and Hamas control. It don't matter, man. You catch the replay, you haven't missed a bulk of the good stuff. But you're controlled. You are clearly under foreign enemy control, which is treason. And you like No News said, you should be a human wind chime. You should. We're gonna break out the Saddam rope for you, baby. We're not even gonna dust it off. We still got his skin cells around. We still got the skin cells. You're about to share it. It's one thing when the government is doing something unjustly, but this is straight up treason. Yes, this is treason. Like, I don't understand how Negroes are caping for illegal immigrants taking a selfie by waving the Mexican flag. You know what? Go to Mexico then. If you think Mexico is so much better than the United States, and you want to go with that black and brown coalition, even though they don't give a shit about you. I mean, I don't know how many times black people got to fall for the banana in the tailpipe Mexican, ask the black people from Compton in the 2000s, early 2000s, what Hispanics think about them. They ran them right up out of Compton. That's why they dump these illegals in black neighborhoods, poor black neighborhoods. That's why it's wild. You got the Chicago protesters. If you notice, the crowd is majority white and Hispanic because those Hispanic illegals are not in white areas. They're not on the other side of Chicago. They're on the south side of Chicago, to the point where black people in Chicago have turned Republican. You've got to be getting paid as a mayor / governor to be fighting for illegals in your spot, knowing that your crime rate is through the roof. Your costs are through the roof. California is practically bankrupt because of illegals. I was actually in Iraq when he was hanged. They aired it on TV. Yeah, I watched it here in the United States. And the funny part about it is he was just speaking in, Arabic or whatnot. And the translator was lying their ass off. I'm like, what? Like, hold on. Like, what is he really saying? And what he was really saying was that he was a puppet of the United States. Like, I was doing what they told me to do. I can't believe y'all finna hang me for this. I was y'all friend. He was snitching. He snitched all the way till they put the rope around his neck and the hood and pulled the lever. He was snitching. He was all in the world court just snitching. But they wouldn't translate nothing that he was saying. Not for real. You say try that with Russia or China, or better yet, go ask Brittany Griner. Oh, she didn't learn her lesson. She's still out here being a racist jerk. You see the lady with her army uniform protesting? Yeah. This is what you talking about? Hold on. Oop. Uh-oh. Hold on. Wrong button. I know exactly what you're talking about. Let me see. Hold on. Do I have her on here or is she in my phone? Oh, here she go. Yeah, this chick.
For Donald Trump's agenda. Why now? It's because the military was called upon innocent protesters. We, in our oath to serve, we serve the people of the United States. The Constitution, these constitutional rights are being stripped and just denied, and the military will not be pawns to that. So I'm calling upon the conscience of military members who served previously and now. We have a conscience, we have mind, and we have a duty and moral obligation to say no and resist evil.
This chick is crazy, but come to find out that she's been discharged like back in 2020. She was discharged back in 2020. So she's not even an active member. And then check this out. Let me show y'all this.
I know, and these people are having their children taken and their parents. What about my kids? I need a job today. That's what happens to my kids. I can't help you. But you can if you could just move out the way. You're not going to. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to do? No, it's not.
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
You see oh no, not work. This drugged out piece of shit.
Oh no, not work.
Look at the look on her face when he said that. She should have gotten her car and just stepped on the gas. I guess this is her friend. They should have gotten her car and stepped on the gas. Should have stepped on the gas. Should have stepped on the gas. Or just take your foot off the brake. Just take your foot off the brake. Yeah, she looked at him like, are you crazy? This drug addict POS. So, oh no, not word. Look, he got this scar on him. These are drug addicts. You can tell these people either on meth or heroin. This chick is probably as old as him. This is probably his sugar mama. She's probably supplying his drug habit and he's sleeping with her. He got the man bun and everything. I mean, he is old school Democrat.
No, it's not.
women from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that you guys are causing. I'm not causing no problems. I'm not trying to. We're just trying to leave.
Like there's no reasoning with pieces of shit like this. Yeah, talking about peaceful protests and burning up cars that active have car insurance. Yeah, but car insurance don't take care of that. Then you got this old bat.
Even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot, nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
Oh, and by the way, this a-hole right here that was throwing rocks, you know they identified him, and now they're looking for him. They're looking for him. They identified him. See, and this is the thing. It's always a dude with a man bun, right? And this is the thing. This is the funny part. You live in an Orwellian society. So you're throwing rocks at police cars and looting and thinking that you're going to get away with it as if this is the 90s. No, it's 2025. Do you know how they wind up finding you? They just track you. They see where you're going. Oh, okay, so he's out of camera. He disappeared out of camera on 55th and Kinsman. Well, let's pull up the traffic cam on 55th and Kinsman. Oh, there he is. Okay, so now he's on the 125th and East Main. Well, let's put the camera on there. Up there he is all the way. And let's go all the way. Oh, there he is right there in this house. And then they just pull up. Cup swinging. They know exactly who you are. They're reading your license plates and everything. You think I done got away. Yeah, okay. It's 2025, bro. Translation, watch it, sucker. You're on Esther voice. What's up, Jibba? Oh my God. I mean, these people really think that they doing something. Oh, you matter of fact, here's another service member. And here's the thing. You say, what did you say? You say, I hope she didn't join the army to get her citizenship. She just messed it up. Right. Here's another dude with citizenship.
Are you a U.S. Marine?
I'm a Marine. Proud to serve, baby.
How long did you serve?
2005.
What do you have to say about President Trump sending National Guard?
Right, bro. You know what I mean? His country and his state runs with immigrants. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm a son of parents that came from Mexico. You know what I mean? It's not right. You could take the criminals away. What you want to take hardworking people for, man? That's not cool.
Bro. You say Maxine Waters is just an older version of Keisha Crockett. Yeah. Y'all see when she got kicked? She tried to go into the facility and they told her to F off. Shut the door in her face. That was hilarious. A matter of fact, hold on. Y'all want to see something comical before we get back to the seriousness? Watch this.
I'm giving you warning. No, warning about what? I'm asking you a question. What's gonna hurt? What's gonna hurt? There's 40 millimeters. Why are you gonna shoot a fucking 40 millimeter to someone 3 feet away who's asking your badge number? What am I doing? Huh?
Because the hell with you. Who are you? Who are you?
Go ahead. What is it? I'm behind glass. What is your name and badge number?
Keep running your mouth.
Bitch. What is your badge number?
Keep running your mouth.
I'm behind glass.
That's it.
What
Keep
is your
running your
badge
mouth.
number?
Keep acting like you're safe.
Why'd you rip the name off your helmet? One more time. What's your badge number? Hey, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. What's your badge number?
That's okay. I'm gonna pop you right now because you're taking up my focus.
He got popped. 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 But you know what? There's a way we can fight racism, y'all. Let me show y'all. Okay, this is it. This is the ultimate way for us to fight racism. This will conquer racism. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? I'm going to show y'all these two women came up with a way to conquer racism. Ready? Let's go.
Stop with the ICE raids. If ICE shows up, do not resist. Claim your rights. Know your rights. Shh. Stay silent. Request a lawyer. Todos unidos, jamás seremos vencidos. Stay safe.
That's how you do it. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. It's just know your rights and don't open the door and ask for a warrant and they won't bother you. That's the quickest way to find yourself in the back of a freaking van. And speaking of finding yourself in the back of a van, how about finding yourself on the hood of a van? They're trying to stop ICE from leaving the facility. You should have got out and start breaking faces and all on.
Oh my God!
Should have got out and start breaking faces. Crack! 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 That's what should have happened. They should have got their teeth knocked out. Because, I mean, in all honesty, what you're trying to do is you're trying to facilitate the escape of a detainee from police custody. Therefore, you are an accomplice. So you should be treated as such. You should be arrested and have your face broken in. Because that's what you're doing.
Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back.
That was the key. Fucking Miguel. Fuck you guys. Fuck you.
Some of the things that other sheriffs in this state has participated
and
in.
This dude right here.
Availability.
This dude right here said, I'm not going to help. But in the end, he backtracked to avoid suspension because this is a Florida, Broward County. He's in Florida. And this is how he was talking. This coon.
Of manpower to execute some of these responsibilities that fall under immigrations, we are not. There has been a submittal of requests. The governor wanted to see all sheriffs participate in this one program, 287G, which was related to the inmate processing components, and we've always been in compliance with that. Then there was a pivot point to have deputies participate in 287G task force, whereas now it's the law enforcement apparatus that is out in the field and increasing the operational tempo for customs, meaning 20 deputies are assigned, let's say in Sarasota, to this particular task force. And those deputies are now basically operating under the will, or so, the partnership of immigration. I've dedicated the 2 people that's always been there. I've not increased that. We have other priorities in this community that I'm focused on, and immigration is not one of them. Not to dismiss the importance of that, but we have had case after case just a few months ago to speak about why it's important for us as law enforcement practitioners to focus on the criminal components. not administrative components when it comes to immigration. I don't care what country you're from. If you commit a crime in this country or commit a crime in this county, I'm coming for you. But what I refuse to do is take this notion that we need to be knocking on doors or arresting children or going into daycare centers or restaurants and taking and snatching people off these streets who have been paying taxes and contributing to this society in some positive form, regardless if they're a U.S. citizen or not. It's not within our purview, it's not within our responsibility, and I won't participate in it. This is something that has alarmed this community repeatedly, and I've been crystal clear, and I have not wavered in my stance in the last 6 years, and I won't.
Yeah, this coon almost got fired. They was gonna fire this coon. They was gonna fire this coon. They were gonna fire that coon for what he said, but instead they wound up suspending him. But he should have been fired. Let's finish this, then we'll get into the press conference.
Has also announced that his state's National Guard is ready to be deployed around the state to curb whatever happens there, whatever of this mass protesting, movement, agitation, and in some cases, criminal violence pops up. In total, they rallied against ICE and the president.
So look at this. You got protests in Seattle, and I don't even know why they're even bothering. San Francisco, Santa Ana, of course, LA, Las Vegas, I don't even know why they're involved. San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas. You got to be crazy messing around in Texas. They say Atlanta down here, but I haven't seen or heard anything. I haven't seen or heard anything. And when I didn't do a show yesterday, y'all, because I was at the VA. I don't want to get too personal about it, but you know, as you know, I take care of my dad. He has his issues. But understand that, I mean, I'm supposedly have help, but the help is not helpful. So since Wednesday, it's been every other day I've been running him to the VA, but hopefully now everything is stable after yesterday. All right, because the help that I'm supposed to have was not being helpful. I mean, goddamn, if the man hasn't peed in 2 days, why the fuck am I just now finding out about it on day 2? What do you mean? You haven't emptied his catheter in 2 days, but yet he's in pain. You stupid. It's been issues. I'm working with it. Wisconsin, Chicago, you know, I do understand that ever since what's going on with California, all these other cities, this is, you know, we're trying to show that we're in solidarity, but in all honesty, these are all insurrections. Philadelphia, New York, Boston, especially DC. I don't even know why in the Christmas hell you would call yourself trying to host an insurrection in DC. But as far as I see it, the mayor of Seattle, San Francisco, California, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Philadelphia, definitely Boston, Milwaukee, and Chicago. These people, especially Colorado, Denver, these mayors, as far as I'm concerned, they're especially Las Vegas. These are people that are on the take from the cartel. Atlanta, I mean, I don't get it. I haven't heard anything about this going on in Atlanta, but I'm gonna go out here tomorrow and see what's up, because you know what? I'm gonna be quiet on that one. But I'm gonna go out tomorrow and see exactly. I'm gonna find out exactly where they call themselves trying to protest that in Atlanta. I'm actually gonna see what's up with that, because this doesn't make any sense. This is a black city. Why are you caring what the hell is going on with illegals here in Atlanta? If anything, you need to be getting rid of these people. But do understand, I mean, at least the criminal ones. But because they're not necessarily understand that the administration is not going after the quote unquote tax paying illegal that's trying to, stay below the radar, keep their head down and work at the little restaurants and cook all the food and stuff. Because like I said, I go to these Indian restaurants and everything or whatnot here across the city, or at these parties I work, these restaurants or whatnot, and there's nothing but illegals that barely speak English working for Indians and Asians. They back there cooking the food and everything. You go to an Indian restaurant and you're eating a delicious Indian meal, the curry goat and the butter chicken and everything, but it's prepared by Hispanic men that don't even speak English. Go to an Asian restaurant. Yeah, you're eating beautiful, deliciously prepared Asian food, but it's made by illegals, Hispanics. You go to a lot of these restaurants, the Hispanics are working in the back. They're not made by authentic Indians or Asians or whatever the hells. Yeah, they're not even worried about them. ICE is worried about the ones with criminal records, orders of deportation because of their criminal records. Trump has access. The U.S. government, shortly after Elon left, actually 2 days after he left, the Supreme Court gave Trump / Doge access into the Social Security Department as far as where they had more than read access to Social Security numbers. So now, and Elon talked about this before he left. He said, we're trying to get access into the Social Security Department. We need to get in there more than read access, because there are a lot of people in there that have more than one birth date on a Social Security number. So we need to eliminate those extra birthdays on the Social Security numbers. So now they're able to do that. Doge, now that Elon has left, is now able to do that. This was last week. All of these little cooks and fry cooks and spaghetti makers and construction workers and roofers and lawn care people that are illegal, that's trying to work under the bar of illegal immigration, hoping that they don't get caught up. You're done. In this country, you cannot do jack shit without a Social Security number, because this is 2025, not 1995. You need an active Social Security number to catch a check, transfer any type of money, pay a bill, anything to do with money, finance, be it Venmo, Cash App, etc. You cannot do any of those things without a Social Security number. So therefore, before the end of the month, these people are done. You're doing all of this hostile taking over and protest in all of these cities listed here for nothing. It's over for you. But here's the thing. A lot of these people are not going to want to leave, just like in California. They're going to fight to try to stay. Which, this is what the Democrats wanted. If we can't have it the way we want it, then we are going to facilitate a second civil war. As what Lewis was saying, this was shortly after the election, he called me up saying, hey, they're saying that Trump is the last president. And I was like, but the only way that's going to happen is if we either have a nuclear war or a civil war. That's the only way that it will happen. It'll take a while after a civil war. It might take a couple years before we have a new president, because you don't do an exchange of powers when the country is at war. That's why Zelensky has been in power for so long. But If Trump can somehow squash this with the military before it gets out of hand in all of these cities, plus with the destruction of their financial ability to live in this country, then maybe quite possibly, I mean, you're going to have damage like you're having out in LA. You're going to have damage, but at least you can quell it. You can quell it. But and the one thing that baffles and puzzles me, I mean, look, stop. Who cares what white people do? If they want to be stupid enough to take on the U.S. government and be all 1960s hippie in 2025 and think that a rubber bullet won't blow their fucking brains out, then let them be stupid enough to do it. But don't be the dumb Negro that's, I just listen to CNN and Trump is bad, so I'm gonna go out here and I'm fighting against the U.S. government. Like, you dumb nigger. And I don't mean to use such spicy words, but do you not understand how deeply stupid you have to be to take up that cause? You have nowhere to go. And do understand those white folks are going to die. They're going to die from starvation or getting their brains blown out. You will be right there with them. Because if it really came down to a real civil war, ain't nobody white gonna protect you. Ain't no Hispanics gonna protect you. Ain't no Asians gonna protect you. And me, myself, I'm definitely not going to protect you. I'm definitely gonna be like, what type of American are you? By holding my rifle on my shoulder, cocked and ready to go. What type of American are you? Whose side you fall on? Because if you say Democrat, you're done. You're done, because I know you're a dumbass. You instigated and facilitated and wanted to desperately take part in the destruction of American society, as if, you wanted to turn the land of milk and honey into a third world shithole. I'm supposed to respect you for that? I don't care how much we used to talk about racism. God damn it. Where's the racism now? Show it to me. Sorry, y'all. Let me get up. Must be a high illegal workforce in Broward. Yeah, Atlanta. They are really out there protesting. I got to see this. The VA is trash. Oh my God, dude. Don't get me started on the VA. A friend of mine lost both his hands and feet because they gave him too many blood thinners. Oh, good Lord. Saturday is supposed to be a big day for this crap. This is like a John Walker moment. Antifa to stir the scent. In Chicago, most Mexicans were gone like the wind. Yeah, they should get up out of there like the wind. Black folks shouldn't be protesting for people who were let in here to replace us. That's the one thing that black folks don't seem to understand. They weren't brought here to be your friends. They were brought here to replace you by the Democratic Party. And if things went tits up for the Democratic Party like it's going, then these people are supposed, and I was saying this. I said, you have to understand the Democrats, they brought these people in here, especially the criminal illegals that they asked for specifically from South America. Because understand, a lot of South American countries emptied their jails. And remember, they kept talking about all of these military-age males that were crossing the border. Y'all remember that last year? That was the big brouhaha. Why are all of these military-age males crossing across the border? You say this so we don't have to. Yeah. They did this intentionally because if they lost, because do understand, after Biden fumbled the whole "we defeated Medicaid," once he mumbled that and they lost the debate, a couple of days later they tried to assassinate Trump and they failed. So this is the fallback plan. If we can't rule the country through Congress or the Senate, then we will tear it down. We'll tear it down. And these military-age males from South America and also from other countries, this is the Democrats' army, as well as dissenters in the military and the Department of Justice. This is why, and I keep saying it, I've said this a few times, Kash Patel was the biggest puzzle piece that Trump needed, because Kash Patel needs to clean out the FBI and the DOJ. Excuse me. Because you have too many political operatives, Democrats, traitors to the country that are in the DOJ and the FBI. They have to go. This is why he's on his second round of lie detector tests. Y'all are wondering what's going on with the Epstein files and all of this stuff. Do you not understand that the Epstein files is not the only thing that they have to deal with? Dave Bernardino, the deputy director of the FBI, the black dude, said that we found all of these files in a back room off somewhere where there's dust and cobwebs and stuff. Like, we got to go through all of these files. This Epstein stuff, trust me, it's only been, the DC chopper pilot. Yeah, this chick, come to find out, she was a typical, and she wound up killing all them people intentionally because she didn't want to follow orders. Rumors of wars, according to the book of Revelation. What's up, Sick? Ain't seen you over here in a minute. Yeah, like, you have to understand that it is so much going on, so much corruption going on in the FBI and the DOJ that and I've said this, I said Kash has to put a team together of agents he can trust, a special task force to handle this stuff. It's so many big cases and small cases that need to be dealt with, especially concerning these Democratic leaders. You have to have agents that you can trust that can actually find the evidence and do their goddamn job. Say she was a he. You have good Lord. I put it to you like this. Let's say you own a business. You need to find employees. You got to hire employees you can trust, because let's say like you own a Nike store and you call yourself trying to hire within the community. I'm hiring some black people, blah, 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 blah. And then every month your inventory come up and your inventory wind up being short. Your inventory's short. So now you got to go through cameras and see who's stealing what, and then come to find out it's the manager and 3 other employees on the second shift. So now you got to fire them and find other people. That's not easy. Trust me, that you can't just overnight. And now we're talking about FBI agents. Some of them threatened to take state secrets and go overseas. Remember they caught the one FBI agent. This fool was making copies of top secret documents and telling his associates at the FBI, yeah, I'm gonna retire and go overseas and write a book. They caught this dude at JFK before he was about to board his flight. He was sitting there reading his book, waiting for his up now loading, flight 327 to Panama. Oh, that's me. And they like, buddy, where you going? Call him right then and there. Do you not understand how precarious of a situation the FBI and the DOJ is in right now? Yes, we want to see these people cuffed and stuffed and in jail cells. But you can't do that if you've got radicals in the FBI and the DOJ. Because they're not going to do it. They're going to half-ass it. They're going to destroy evidence. They're going to give tips, heads up, all this stuff. Remember, there was an FBI agent that was tipping off the people in Denver, the illegals in Denver, about ICE. It was an FBI agent tipping them off. This is how bad of a situation we're in this country. Woo! Y'all have no idea. Let's go.
In at least 15 cities from coast to coast. They don't like immigration picking up illegals. They're for the illegal aliens committing crimes. It's so confusing and dangerous. Republican Congressman Andy Biggs of the great state of Arizona, member of the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees, also a candidate for governor.
Remember when we thought Arizona was racist? You know, they was talking about canceling the Super Bowl and all this stuff. We thought Arizona was racist for how they was treating the illegals out there because they had so much crime and the cartel. I mean, they're finding decapitated heads out in the desert and stuff, dead bodies everywhere. And we was, Arizona's so wrong because we was watching CNN. And they was trying to make it like the sheriff was just racist. No, he was dealing with the insanity that goes on in Mexico right there in Arizona. Man, it's crazy how, but this is the beauty of maturing and not being stuck in a mentality. You grow and you get access to more information, and then you go, oh, okay, I see it now. You see it now.
Arizona, great to see you today. So look,
Thanks, Harrison.
This is spreading. I don't know if you could hear William Lajeunesse, but it's got some things about it that would say maybe some of these people are getting some help. What's your idea?
Yep, Joe, Arpaio.
Well, we're learning that this isn't really organic.
Did you remember?
This is highly coordinated, that there's money that's behind this. Some of it is federal grant money or California state grant money even that has gone to these organizations. They've turned around and used it to go after and create this actual rioting and this. It's not protesting anymore. This is absolutely rioting.
So what legally can be done? I mean, it seems like if they're going, it sounds like a misappropriation of funds. I'm sure it was never intended for this, that funding.
No, it was intended for this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're using the grant money other than it was intended for sure. But you also have this notion of, are they getting people out and encouraging and fomenting the rioting? It looks like that maybe they are. And if they are, that would be aiding and abetting this kind of misconduct, which is criminal conduct. And aiding and abetting is also a criminal offense. Might even be.
Oh, go ahead.
There might even be an opportunity to investigate them for conspiracy as well, because if they've organized this criminal enterprise, then that's conspiracy.
Okay, so those are serious crimes at this point. Just real quickly, a word on Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. I mean, he is so hyper-focused on the president of the United States. He had a loss from this judge. What's your take on that situation? The rejection of, yeah, if the president wants to move in and do this, he'll make a ruling later this week, but he's not currently going to stop it.
Yeah, I think that the president's on good legal footing for this. I think Gavin Newsom, when he stands up and says this is only the beginning, this is going to begin in California, he didn't mean it the way he said it, but he's right. This is spreading. The rioting is spreading, and it is becoming a national issue. So the need to actually step in, because people like Gavin Newsom are not taking the action. Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, is not taking the action to protect their citizenry. And by the way, we have federal assets and federal personnel that are being threatened and attacked that they are not protecting. So I think President Trump's right to protect them.
Well, and look, you have the top-ranking member in the House for Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, saying, oh, well, let's have their identities. Why are they wearing masks? You know, let's know who all of the ICE agents and the law enforcement, ending their lives. We already know they've been targeted.
Yeah, that's an incredibly reckless approach by the minority leader here. But just take a look at it. What do you see on the other side? You see the rioters, the people who are assaulting these officers. They always put on masks for anonymity. And the reason that our guys have to wear masks is because they're being doxxed, they're being attacked, their families are being threatened. Yes, for Hakeem to stand up and say that, incredibly dangerous, incredibly reckless.
Yeah, I mean, rocks, and we've seen cement bricks thrown at vehicles and all the like. So good to have you today. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna show y'all. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm drinking this Kavita kombucha. cherry tart. But this is the organization, Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. This is who's funding a lot of this domestic terrorism going on, especially in California. This is the organization. I put it over this chick's face because she was the one who did the report on it. I posted it in my community tab because I wanted to talk about it yesterday. But she was the one who did the research and found out that this is the organization that's funding these protests or insurrections out in California. Churla. So if you see this logo and this name, understand this is a cartel controlled organization. You say, imagine if Hakeem Newsom and the others fought this hard for our reparations like they're doing for illegals. Oh, we'd probably had that money. But so let's get on to our, well, I'm gonna say our, but really my favorite White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Let's see what's going on coming out of the White House. Let's see what the official statements are. Let's go.
How are you? Good to see you all. What we have seen transpire in Los Angeles, California in recent days is shameful. Left-wing radicals waving foreign flags viciously attacked ICE and Border Patrol agents as well as Los Angeles police officers. These criminals injured police, threw rocks at police cars and officers, burned vehicles, shut down freeways, and lobbed Molotov cocktails, all because the Trump administration was removing violent criminal illegal aliens from the city. These attacks were aimed not just at law enforcement, but at American culture and society itself. Rioters burned American flags, chanted "Death to ICE," and spray painted anti-American slogans on buildings. But President Trump will never allow mob rule to prevail in America. The most basic duty of government is to preserve law and order, and this administration embraces that sacred responsibility. Democrats like Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass shamefully failed to meet their sworn obligations to their citizens. They didn't have the courage to do the right thing and protect law-abiding Californians from rioters. That's why President Trump deployed the National Guard and mobilized Marines to end the chaos and restore law and order. The mob violence is being stomped out. The criminals responsible will be swiftly brought to justice, and the Trump administration's operations to arrest illegal aliens are continuing unabated. When the initial immigration enforcement actions took place on June 6th, Mayor Bass took to social media to say she was deeply angered by what has taken place. Mayor Bass then embarked on one of the most outrageous campaign of lies this country has ever seen from an elected official, blaming President Trump and brave law enforcement officers for the violence. She accused heroic American immigration and customs enforcement officers targeting illegal alien murderers, rapists, and pedophiles of, quote, sowing terror in communities and disrupting basic principles of safety in our city. Around the same time, Governor Newsom claimed that immigration enforcement actions were causing chaos. That's how radical Democrats have become. Their opposition to President Trump has forced them to side with illegal alien criminals in their communities and violent rioters and looters over law enforcement officers who are just doing their jobs. Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom fanned the flames and demonized our brave ICE officers. Instead of defending their city and their state, Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom claimed that in order for the riots and the violence to stop, ICE needed to leave and immigration raids must end.
I mean, so basically they wanted Trump to surrender the city to illegals, criminal illegals. In all honesty, that's what they're asking for. Oh, and by the way, before we get more into her, I want to show y'all something. Look, okay, y'all see in the background? You see my lights? All right, watch this. See, okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, let me get these. I also got my side lights over here. They do the same thing. Watch. Anyway, y'all know, isn't technology wonderful? You say they have the technology to find all the people rioting, and they are finding them. They showing up to these people's house with the cuff swinging. But let's get back to this.
In other words, the position of the Democrat Party is that the federal government is not allowed to enforce our laws and to arrest and deport illegal alien criminals. They're attempting to use a violent mob as a weapon against their own constituents to prevent the enforcement of immigration law. This is deeply un-American and morally reprehensible. President Trump received a clear mandate from voters to reverse the illegal invasion ushered in by Joe Biden's open border and to end the lawlessness represented by Karen Bass in Gavin Newsom's California. President Trump promised to carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
All right, so yeah, don't blame me. Look, okay, so these lights right here, I got them at Walmart for like $20. Hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry, I got my shorts on. All right. Yeah, so yeah, these you can get these from Walmart. The hexagon lights, you can shape them any old way you want to. Yeah, they're pretty, they're cheap. You don't have to spend too much money on them, but they can go in all types of different patterns or whatnot. Whoop. They're lights. You can get them in different colors, and they can do different things, whatever. They're lights. But yeah, I saw these. I was like, let me go ahead and get these. Yeah, I was like, these are cool. Like, these are cool. It's what boredom shopping gets you. You say Caroline needs these lights, yeah. So shoot. I just figured I'd just try to jazz it up a little bit. But anyway, let's get back to this. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting y'all with garbage, but let's go.
And left-wing riots will not deter him in that effort. Sanctuary cities and states will no longer be allowed to shield illegal criminals from deportation. Just take a look at some of the illegal monsters who were taken off the streets in Los Angeles in recent days. A Vietnamese national, a known gang member with a conviction for second-degree murder. A Mexican national with convictions for child molestation who was armed with a dangerous weapon and had previous arrests for robbery and domestic violence. A Filipino national with convictions of rape, assault, burglary, and theft. A Mexican national convicted of statutory rape, narcotics violations, and hit and run. A Nicaraguan national with convictions for domestic violence and hit and run, and a previous arrest for willful cruelty to a child. And an illegal alien from Mexico who was arrested after allegedly throwing a Molotov cocktail at law enforcement officers during the Paramount riots on Saturday. He is now being charged with attempted murder. Law-abiding American citizens do not want these public safety threats living in their communities, no matter what Democrats like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom may claim. And let this be an unequivocal message to left-wing radicals in other parts of the country who are thinking about copycatting the violence in an effort to stop this administration's mass deportation efforts. You will not succeed. Any lawlessness will only strengthen this president's resolve to defend the majority of Americans who want to live their lives peacefully, free from the fear of violent criminal illegal aliens. As President Trump said, order will be maintained and illegal aliens will be expelled from our country. In economic news, the latest consumer price index inflation report came in today below expectations again. Since President Trump took office, inflation has come in below economic expectations every single month. Core inflation held steady and remains at the lowest level since March of 2021. Wage growth remains strong. The average private sector worker is on track to see their real earnings increase by around $1,200 adjusted for inflation. And prices continue to fall for everyday Americans. Energy prices fell from April to May. Gasoline has fallen each month since President Trump took office, down 12% over the past year.
Yeah, okay, so you say, California depends on illegals because they make up a large amount of their workforce. And it also makes up a large amount of their poverty and crime. because they're underpaid in California. They're underpaid. The prices are too high. A lot of these people are criminals. You have a lot of gang activity, especially illegals, gang activity, a lot of cartel activity in California. That's why it's so expensive and why it's a crap hole. Because the cartel operates out of California, as well as those other cities that you've seen. This is why I'm saying these mayors and governors are on the take. They are cartel controlled. There's no way in hell that I would be in a position of power like that and be fighting for criminals, criminal illegals like that, unless I was in fear of my life or I was on the take. You say California, oh yeah, we got that. You can program them and work them from your phone. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I wrote that down. That GoV, I'm gonna look for them on Amazon. You say Democrats are pro-crime, right? They're very pro-crime, and this is the thing that I have a problem with the average everyday black folks and pro-poverty, right? Is that I used to be, as I said, I used to be a Democrat-minded because I'm working a job, 2 jobs, whatever. I came up in my 20s when I started paying attention to politics. I'm down here, we selling the pro-black books and everything we at the store, and Clinton was in office and Clinton was bringing in tons of money. Yeah, we criticized the hell out of Clinton. Don't be misled. We didn't like him, but the dude America was in the black while he was sitting up there getting BJs and killing folks. Ask Ron Brown. Oh, you can't ask Ron Brown. I wonder why. But we knew. We criticized him. Criticized all these presidents. But Trump, you can criticize him all you want to, but if you look at the overall plan, you see he's bringing in prosperity. But the Democrats have always been pro-crime, and black folks, because the Democrats are so soft on crime, especially the last 4 years, they really are suckered in by this party, not realizing that they are keeping you poor and stupid and weak and feckless. You just haven't figured it out yet. You say also Democrat is pro-government because they dependent on the government, right? They're a welfare government. They want you in bread and soup lines. They want to control you. Yeah, Soros money. They want to control you. Whereas the Republicans, especially the Trump Republicans that's in now, they want free market enterprise. There's no way in hell this is America, Jack. There should be the only way you should be poor in America is if you choose to be. That's the way America should be. You should choose to be poor. It should be a conscious choice. And it is a conscious choice to be poor. Remember last year I was doing all of the stock stuff and we was talking about the money and everything. Though, in all honesty, when I had the Embraceability channel, those were my least watched shows. I stopped doing them. If you notice, I haven't done a money show in a month? For what? For what? For what? There's nothing in it. Y'all don't care. Anyway.
And prices for meat, poultry, eggs, and fish are all down from April to May as well. Under President Trump's strong leadership, America is beating Joe Biden's record high inflation crisis. And once the One Big Beautiful bill passes, our economy will boom like never before. This bill is the largest tax cut for middle-class Americans in history.
Yeah, they doing more cuts
One
than
Big
that
Beautiful
bill
bill gives a 15% tax cut to working Americans and families.
Matter
with
of
the
fact, they
increased
want to
take-home
split the
pay
bill up
of
in 2 pieces.
$10,000 per year.
One for the average American
The One Big
and
Beautiful
one for the
bill
government.
expands the child tax
They wanna
credit
cut
to
it up.
$2,500 for more than 40 million American families with children. And the One Big Beautiful bill cuts taxes for overtime workers, saving them nearly
That's because a lot of black
$2,000 per
people,
year.
they're
and
financially
ends taxes
illiterate.
on tips, saving tipped workers nearly $2,000 per year as well. All of these.
Let me tell you something. and I don't mean this as a diss, but I'm gonna say this right now. If all of a sudden I was forced to move, I would have to call a house mover U-Haul truck. You, and I'll say this in a general sense, all you need is some black trash bags. If you were to get evicted, all you need is black trash bags. I would have to call a house mover. I would have to book a house mover U-Haul truck. And I'm not saying that as a flex or anything. And I get it. People think materialism, whatever. But the thing is that I'm not. As a human being, you should not be living as a bum like that. You should have stability, especially over the age of 35. You should have some form of stability, not just be going from place to place to place. I mean, that just reeks of poverty. I don't care how much you got saved up. That sounds like poverty. Tell me it doesn't. If you're forced to move and all you need is 2-3 black trash bags to move, I mean, it's not like you violated a lease and gotta pay $1,500 and it's going on your credit report or anything like that. If that's how you're living, I'm sorry, what part of that screams success? I mean, personal success, where your name is not even the principal on nothing, especially where you lay your head at night. You're a grown-ass man. What are you, a teenage boy? Are you a girl in her early 20s? I mean, what? If you're over the age of 40, you should have a lease in your name. Your name should be the principal of where you lay your head down on a piece of paper. Am I lying? Right. Own nothing and be happy. That's the Democratic way. Forever impoverished. Attached to nothing. Somebody tell you to get the fuck out, you can't even contest it. Not legally. Yeah. So yeah, I stopped doing the financial talk. People don't care. You try to hook people up with jobs and advice and everything, man, they don't care. They don't care. They just want to hand out. It's pathetic. Anyway.
These provisions are broadly popular with an overwhelming support from the American people. We need Republicans in Congress to finish the job and send the one big beautiful bill back to President Trump's desk for his signature as soon as possible. With that, we'll get to questions. I'm sure you have many of them today. Here in our new media seat is Elizabeth Mitchell, the White House correspondent for the Daily Signal.
Oh, here we go. Let's have some fun. I love the question and answers.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I have 2 questions, if that's okay. First,
we got Caitlin Collins. Y'all see her over here? I mean, she's been quiet the past month. Because it came out like I think she was on vacation or suspended or something like that. But it came out that Trump pretty much wanted to revoke her credentials from the White House because she asked too many stupid questions. So he wanted to revoke her press pass, but they wound up denying it. But she decided to shut the fuck up and stop being an agitator so she could be sitting up here in this row. So if you've noticed, she's been quiet the past month. The last time she said anything, she was talking to that one guy about immigration and he chewed her out. Some old dude. He chewed her out. And ever since then, she's been super quiet. But let's get on to the questions. And I'm sorry it looks blurry, but this is not, if y'all think it looks blurry, because I see it as blurry even with my glasses on. That's not my fault. But as y'all can see, the California cutie, she right here. All right. So there's y'all California cutie that's always in this corner. She's there. All right, let's go.
A few Republicans on Capitol Hill are suggesting that President Trump scale back deportations, even as ICE is reportedly gearing up for raids in 5 more Democrat-led areas. Would anything dissuade President Trump, and would he consider sending in Marines if anti-ICE violence occurs in these cities?
Well, I think I may have just answered both of your questions with my opening monologue. The Trump administration is going to continue the mass deportation effort that the president promised the American public. Many of you were at those rallies in cities and communities across the country when the president spoke about his commitment to removing violent illegal criminals and anyone who has broken our nation's immigration laws from American communities. And God bless our ICE and Border Patrol who are working hard on that effort. This administration is going to continue that. And it's part of the reason we do need the one big beautiful bill to pass as well, may I add, because the bill provides funding to hire more ICE agents and Border Patrol agents, more personnel on the ground to conduct this important public safety work.
Thank you. And on another topic, President Trump has indicated that aides to former President Biden who used the auto pen to sign major orders and pardons should be investigated for potential crimes. Does he think that Biden allowing, or at least being negligently unaware of this activity, was an impeachable offense?
I haven't heard the president address whether it's an impeachable offense, but it could perhaps be a criminal offense, especially on behalf of staffers who may have been utilizing the president's signature without his authority or consent. I understand that Republicans on the Hill are moving in the right direction to call attention to this and to bring in some former White House staffers who clearly knew more than they ever shared and never addressed with the American public. And so we look forward to seeing where this investigation continues. And I know the Department of Justice is also looking into the matter as well.
Yeah, if y'all familiar, as I said, David Hogg on Hidden Camera, he snitched and said it was Biden's chief of staff. Y'all want me to play it? I can play it. Hold on. Whoops. Yeah, what am I doing here? Hold on, I'll show you. Yeah. Where you at, David? Where you at? Here we go. Yeah, he snitched.
Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city. Every year. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to them, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get gun control passed. So I have to pick my battle. Like the hardest part about my job is I just want to burn everything down because it's all so corrupt. But you got to pick your battles and slowly build your momentum.
Joining us now, DNC Vice Chair David Hogg.
We're not going to go after Pelosi. One, we wouldn't beat her, even if we wanted to. That's part of it. But two, it's an unnecessary fight to pick when there's other members that are far weaker. And I would say Pelosi's actually very good at her job. I don't agree with the stock trading stuff.
You don't?
No. Some of these members of Congress make trades that are like way too well timed to not have like insider knowledge about. And it's a huge problem.
Do you think that's how Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yes. I mean, she gets better returns than almost every hedge fund in this city. Every year.
And you don't think that has to change?
No, it does.
How would you change that?
You just ban members of Congress from owning stock.
So
have to put their assets in a blind trust.
You're going to prop up candidates who oppose that? Is that your goal, to prop up candidates?
I mean, in part, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a long haul. There's 435 members.
Yeah.
And most likely 430 of them are doing the same thing, which is why they don't want to. I don't know, but I'm just stating.
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Just conveniently. They happen to be some of the best financial analysts in human history.
Have you spoken against that?
I've talked to them, but it's also like, I know that if I pick that fight, it's going to be harder for us to get.
Hello.
Me too, yeah.
Here you go.
Off the record, of course.
Foundational question for me is like, how corrupt is the DNC if so many people knew, or few people knew about Biden, well, the president of the United States?
I mean, I think the fact of the matter is the DNC is always going to be like a campaign arm of the president, ultimately. The bigger issue was like the inner circle that was around Biden. That's it.
And I can't stress to you enough.
Like Joe Biden's chief of staff, like had an enormous amount of power.
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's chief of staff.
That was like an open secret at the level. Like I would avoid him. Like he was scary.
What was his name?
Anthony Trump.
I've never seen him.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
He's like a shadowy, like Wizard of Oz type figure. That's what made him so like.
This is the guy who was using the auto pen. He was one of the main people using the auto pen.
I knew how he looked, but I'm like the general public wouldn't know how this man looked. But he wielded an enormous amount of power, and I can't stress to you how much power he had at the White House.
Yeah, he snitched on hidden camera. He snitched. Let's get back to it. But yeah, you're gonna see these people get called in. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the show, but you know, I don't think I did a good job last show, but I'm showing y'all the evidence now.
Alex, good to see you today.
Good to see you, Caroline. Thank you. You mentioned foreign flags being blown during these protests. There are protest activities being organized for this weekend. Part of it are Democrats saying they want to reclaim the American flag. It's also being titled No King's Day. Does the president see himself as a king? And does the White House expect to see American flags being flown during these protests this weekend?
The president views himself as the president of the United States of America.
What
This
a
is a
stupid
constitutional
question.
republic, and we
Why
want
would
to
you say
see all of our citizens be proud of the country in which they are given the privilege and the blessing to live. And I think that those images of foreign flags being waved with by illegal criminals and by violent rioters in the face of cars blowing up and of flames in the city. I have photos of that here to show you. With this violence and destruction that occurred is an image that Governor Gavin Newsom owns. This is his city, and President Trump saw these images, and he said that is not going to be accepted or tolerated.
Yeah, we
and
already
hence
knew about
why he
Pelosi.
deployed the National Guard and United States
But
Marines.
we didn't know
who have
about
helped
who was
to
running
quell
that auto
violence.
pen.
If I can ask another, sure. If the president does end up deploying any National Guard members, perhaps Marines, to blue states, would he be in contact with the governors prior to this? Would it be necessary?
Well, President Trump was in contact with Governor Gavin Newsom, despite some of the claims he's made in the last couple of days. The president called the governor on Friday evening and told him to let law enforcement in California do their jobs. And the Los Angeles Police Department, by the way, are fantastic people. They are trying to do the work that they've so bravely signed up to do to enforce the law, but they have been kneecapped by incompetent Democrat policies and Democrat politicians who do not allow that their local law enforcement to correspond and coordinate with federal immigration authorities. And so President gave Gavin Newsom a warning and said, get it together. 24 hours later, we saw more images like this. We heard about Border Patrol agents who were being the target of rocks. These illegal criminals were throwing rocks at our Border Patrol and ICE agents. And so the president made the decision to federalize
They
California's
should have been
National Guard.
shot. You
Stephanie.
throw a rock, you should get your brains blown
Questions on
out.
the China trade deal, if I may. First, will the president formally sign the trade deal? And if so, when? Secretary Lutnick sort of alluded to the fact that it might be in a couple of days, but curious if you're going to be more specific to Rita.
Sure, but I do have more specifics for you. I spoke to the president about this. He spoke to his trade team, who did a fantastic job negotiating this on behalf of the United States and meeting with their Chinese counterparts. The president is talking to them about the details of it now. But what the president heard, he liked. China has agreed to open their markets to the United States separately of this deal. And when it comes to this deal, we're going back to the terms that were agreed upon in Geneva for the release of some of those critical minerals and the magnets from China to the United States. And we have agreed to fully comply with the Geneva Agreement as well. So the president is reviewing the details of that with his trade team now, and you'll hear more from him, I'm sure.
All right, I'm gonna say this again for the last time. What's going on right now? You have foreign nationals and seditionists trying to capture American cities, most specifically Los Angeles. They're trying to capture foreign nationals and seditionists who agree with these foreign nationals, who are in essence terrorists because they're illegals. Using stolen social security numbers in order to exist and profit here in America, taking jobs from Americans, most essentially unskilled workers in America, which, as we saw from the chart the other day, Americans, which Black Americans, us, we are the least skilled people in the United States due to the educational system and home training. So working in those restaurants and kitchens and roofing and construction and lawn care, those should be Black jobs. Auto repair, truck driving, all of that stuff, warehouse work, those are Black jobs. We've lost those jobs to illegals. They're trying to seize California right now, LA. I'm sorry, but if you, no, sorry, not sorry. If you are part of an insurrection and a hostile takeover of an American city and you throw a rock at a law enforcement officer, you are a terrorist and you should be treated as such with a bullet to the brain. In no other country would you be allowed to do this and they just shoot bean bags and tear gas and rubber bullets at you. They will murk you. Go to another country and protest their government and see what happens to you. We're so soft on terrorism and crime. We treat people with kid gloves when we should be splitting their wigs as a deterrent. That's why you bust somebody upside the head with a baton. You're supposed to send the message that we will not tolerate this. Just rushing them and throwing them in cuffs is not enough. If you know you throw a rock or put your hands on a law enforcement official could result in you getting your jaw broke or waking up in purgatory waiting to get judged, you'll think 7 times before you pick up that, you'll think before you do it. Matter of fact, no, I ain't gonna do that. I'll just call you names and, and whatnot and spit near you, but not at you or on you, because there's a strong chance it could be lights out. They're too soft. They're too soft. This is why I'm saying probably before Friday, because it's Wednesday and nothing has happened that I've seen as far as bloodshed. But let's see what happens before Friday. God, 48 hours? Let's see what happens. Now that you've got these insurrections all over the country, eventually somebody's going to get stupid and take a shot at a law enforcement officer, or they're going to force a law enforcement officer who has a very short temperament to go ahead and send your ass to the pearly gates or the fiery ones. And then I guarantee you all hell is going to break loose. And you, as whoever you are, you're going to have to pick a side. And you better pick the right side. You better pick the right side, because I'm going to tell you right now, as a Black person, you are outgunned, outmanned, outwitted, out-resourced. The average, I'll say it again, the average apartment holds about a week and a half worth of food. Think about what's in your cabinets right now. If all of a sudden all the grocery stores went kaput right now, this very second, how much food do you have in your apartment? In a house, you might have 3 weeks worth of food. Think about it. Grocery stores go down immediately right now. How much food, based on the people that you have in your house right now, house or apartment, how long would that food last? You're not ready for this. You ain't built for this. You're not built for this. The internet goes down for 10 minutes, you freaking out. You're freaking out. Damn, I can't get, I mean, you going into convulsions and stuff, you know, like Smokey trying to smoke that crack. I mean, you're losing yourself. You ain't built for it. Now, you talking about being part of an insurrection with chaos and blood is flowing through the streets? You really think you gonna put on your John Rambo and go out there? Oh, you gonna win the war? With who? A bunch of punk ass niggas that ain't got no fucking guns? Motherfuckers are running out here with muskets and shit. Tell myself, as soon as I get this powder in here, my pebbles, man, oh, it's on. What the hell? You're not stocked and prepared for this. You a bitch. You a bitch. I'm speaking in general, so, but if the shoe fit, then wear that motherfucker comfortably. Roll your pants leg up and show everybody. But I'm just saying, you don't want it. You literally do not want it in this country, because it ain't like it's gonna last for a week or a couple of days or a month or two. No. It's going to take a few years to recover from that. Millions will die from starvation and physical attacks. You're not built for it.
The second question, on tariffs, Secretary Lutnick suggested that the tariffs would remain unchanged with China. I'm wondering if there's any room for them to negotiate even lower, or if this is the floor.
I won't get ahead of any further negotiations. We're in a great place right now, and I would add that this is the result of a lot of hard work from the president and his team, and the president has a good and respectful relationship with President Xi, and as you know, they had a direct conversation which led to this success that the president announced on Truth Social this morning. JJ.
On North Korea, has the president tried to...
Wait. You called yourself stressing over no internet, right? Where's my slingshot? I got mine hanging up on the wall. I got a slingshot. Water is the big one, right? Man, whoo. I got something. I don't have to worry about water. Martial law is a better option. Y'all laughing at each other. Diabetes and being a lard ass. Yeah, how you gonna get to your medication? You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're going to die. Standing in a damn soup line, if they exist.
Zoom dialogue with Kim Jong-un. There's some reporting that the president sent a letter and tried to give it to Kim Jong-un through some North Korean diplomats through the UN, and they declined to take it and send it to Kim Jong-un.
The president remains receptive to correspondence with Kim Jong-un, and he'd like to see the progress that was made at that summit in Singapore, which I know you covered in 2018 during his first term. As for specific correspondence, I'll leave that to the president to answer. Sure.
Good afternoon. Yeah, thanks. Back to the trade deal negotiations with China. Jimmy Lai, as you know, is a pro-democracy advocate, Catholic, sitting in solitary confinement in Hong Kong as we speak. His family believes he may be close to death. Did his name come up, Jimmy Lai's name come up in these negotiations with China?
Not to my knowledge. I understand the negotiations were very much focused on our trade and economic relationship.
If this was blurry, it's not me.
He can free Jimmy Lai from prison.
I'll check with the president. It's certainly an important issue, and I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Caroline. The president said yesterday that paid insurrectionists were behind or involved in the protests in Los Angeles. Does the White House have any more details about who they believe is paying these?
Yeah, the president. the president spoke about this last night when he returned from Fort Bragg, because frankly, the president has a lot of common sense. And if you look at some of the imagery that we have received from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and law enforcement who are on the ground, you will see boxes and boxes of very professionalized masks and rioting equipment being dropped off for these protesters. So it's a good question the president is raising, and one we are looking into, about who is funding these insurrectionists and these rioters and these protesters and these illegal criminals. And I have updates for you on the numbers, by the way. Since June 6th, there have been 330 illegal aliens that have been arrested as part of these riots in Los Angeles. 113 of those illegal aliens had prior criminal convictions. And overall, and this includes arrests of American citizens, there's been 157 people arrested for assault and obstruction-related charges, including the attempted murder of a police officer with a Molotov cocktail. So who is funding these illegal aliens who are coming in with this very professional riot gear? It's a question everyone in this room who cares about truth should be asking. And we encourage your help in trying to get to the bottom of that question. Indina.
Thank you, Caroline. About Elon Musk, he issued an apology this morning. Has the president accepted the apology, or does he think it's too little too late?
The president acknowledged the statement that Elon put out this morning, and he is appreciative of it. And we are continuing to focus on the business of the American people.
And has the administration started a review of Musk's government contracts, something that the president said he's considering?
What do you mean by that?
Has the administration started a review of the contracts that Musk and his companies currently have?
No efforts have been made on that front, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Yeah, because remember when Elon in his drug-induced state, allegedly, whatever, did all that tweeting, all that crazy stuff he was tweeting, saying Trump was in the Epstein files, but the only file that they have with him is when him, his wife and daughter and the nanny flew from Florida to like New Jersey and back on Epstein's private jet. And that's the only record that they have of Trump being on an Epstein list, because do understand all of this took place. Trump's friendship with Epstein and all of this stuff took place before Epstein bought that New York apartment and before he bought the island. And once Trump found out what, caught wind of what Epstein was doing, because I think Epstein wound up hitting on one of the, because, they used to party together. They're multimillionaires, billionaires, that's what they do. So they was at a party. That's why everything you see with Trump and Epstein is pre-charges for Epstein. Pre-charges before Epstein got caught. But when the rumors came out, everything between Epstein and Trump stopped. So Epstein was at a party. He hit on some teenage girl of a Trump's friend that was there. He threw him the hell up out of there. And then he, Epstein, the rumors started hitting Trump. So then Trump was like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with him. So he barred him from all of his, holdings, all of his little places, hotels, all this stuff before he started leasing his name out, because he used to own a lot of hotels and whatnot. He barred him from all his facilities and he stopped messing with him. And I think they said also Trump was instrumental in getting Epstein arrested because he dropped information to the FBI. And I think a month before Epstein died, his lawyer was drilling him, because keep in mind, Trump was a political figure before Epstein died. And he was like, hey, you have anything on Donald Trump? You have anything on Trump? Anything? He asked him specifically. He was like, I ain't got nothing on him, because he stopped associating with him. He took no part in what Epstein was doing. So, Elon just, quote unquote, drug-induced state. And now he want to take it all back. He want to kiss and make nice. And Trump was like threatening to cut all of his stuff off. But in all honesty, you need Tesla, the company. You need SpaceX, because that's your major space exploration company, because NASA leases stuff out. You've got Boeing, you've got I forgot the other name of that one company that deals with aeronautics, but SpaceX most especially deal with space stuff. Remember, they caught the rocket with the little gripper and all of this stuff that's been going on. They went up to save the astronauts and everything. And now they're trying to fund that mission to Mars. Apparently, the whole blow up was because in the Big Beautiful Bill, Trump must conflict is a WWE skit. Yeah. So maybe Epstein tried to turn out Ivana or the other way with the other one with the big face. Well, understand that in the Big Beautiful Bill, this is what started the whole argument. In the Big Beautiful Bill, Trump cut the funding to Elon's EV contract, electrical vehicle contracts. They need Elon companies because they're American, right? You know, you need the money. You know, Elon employs over 200,000 Americans. You know, but at any rate, Elon needs that EV contract to help fund his mission to Mars and his robotics program. I mean, not only are they making the little, you know, Terminator robots, if y'all have seen them little robots that be doing the ninja flips and everything with the big backpacks on them and everything. Yeah, that's coming out of Tesla. They need to, not only are they funding that for a defense contract, but also Elon needs to fund this mission to Mars. He needs that EV contract. The cars are just, it's like a startup point. You know, it's like you go from selling bottled waters to now you starting to sell Gatorades plus bottled waters, and now you selling bottled water, Gatorade, and candy bars, and then you add chips to it, you know, and now you got Subway sandwiches going. You know, your little corner business is now growing. That's what he needs, those EV contracts in order to make it grow. So in order to win the AI race, we need his ingenuity. Well, that's what NVIDIA is for. NVIDIA is a separate company, and they're already almost done building their factory. You say 30,000 on pre-order, right? So you've got, Trump is, Elon is trying to fund his mission to Mars, and he needed that EV money to do that. All right. The cars are just, you know, like I said, you just selling bottled water, but the money you make from the bottled water funds other stuff. All right. Because nothing is better than getting a project off the ground than spending other people's money. Okay. Other people's money is the best way to get a project off the ground instead of spending your own. You say the Tesla robot. Yeah. They need to send those robots to the protest. Oh my God. Ooh, it'll look like Star Wars. Remember the robots in Star Wars, the prequels? They dropped down, they popped up, lit up, and brought them guns out and started marching. Yeah, it would look like that. It would look like that. Oh my God, it would be the start of the robot rebellion right there. America would lose. We'd be told, like, okay, EV65, you can stand down now. Order 66. It'll be order 66 on us. Oh my God, where's Sarah Connor when we need her? No, but yeah, so that's why Elon was tripping out, because Trump cut the EV contract in the Big Beautiful Bill. And as Trump told Elon, he was like, well, you know, it's not fair. We need to have both EV hybrids and gas. We want to make it a free and fair open market for everybody. And that sent Elon over the edge on tizzy on his way out the door. And that's why he went all crazy with the tweeting and everything. What's up, DeCarlo? They did all that tweeting and stuff, and now he wanted to make nice because, you know, he came down off his high. You say, I don't think robots can't violate human rights because they're not human. Well, hey, I mean, the 3 laws of robotics, you know, you have to program that in. But if you're having robots fight in the military, you have to take away the 3 laws of robotics. because they have to be able to delete or kill humans. They have to be able to shoot at humans, unless you're going to have them programmed to shoot at the legs, but you're still violating the 3 laws of robotics. You still got to remove it. So, you know, that's why they say AI is going to be the death of us. And it's like we're halfway there. We're halfway there. I mean, you already have robots patrolling streets and everything. Like they tested it out in San Francisco. They had the little R2D2 robot. They got the Sentry, and then they had like the dog, the Sentry dog, the R2D2 robot, and now you've got the 2-legged humanoid robots. They were testing that in San Francisco.
And just one more, if I may, on just everything sort of we've seen so far with the president's response to the LA protests. There is criticism that seems to suggest that the president responded the way he did because it was a deliberate, calculated attempt to sort of shift focus away from his feud with Musk. How would you respond to that?
That the president responded to the LA riots, condemning the violence
from Musk.
It's an incredibly disingenuous attack. The president saw images of Border Patrol and ICE agents being hailed with rocks and Molotov cocktails. He saw vehicles being burned to the ground with illegal aliens flying foreign flags. And that's what prompted the president to have this response that has clearly worked, because last night in Los Angeles, you didn't see many of those images. And I would add the governor and the mayor need to actually do more. I know Gavin Newsom had a big address to the nation last night. I guess he thought that's what it was for maybe his future political ambitions. But he spoke a lot of words. We haven't seen action. California has been a mess for years because of the incompetence of Gavin Newsom. So the president was responding to that only. Caitlin.
Caroline, 2 questions for you. Sure. Over the weekend, Secretary Noem sent a memo to the Pentagon asking Secretary Hegseth to have and direct the military that's on the ground in LA to arrest and detain what she said were lawbreakers. Is the president okay with that? And under what authority would the members of the military be able to arrest people inside the United States?
I can't speak for a letter that came from the Department of Homeland Security. I can't speak for the president and what's currently happening on the ground now. And as you know, the president federalized the National Guard under U.S. Code 10, which he has the authority to do. And our United States Marines and the National Guardsmen and women who are on the ground right now are helping to create a peaceful environment for ICE and Border Patrol, who were being, again, hailed with rocks, who were being violently and viciously attacked. They needed reinforcements. And so our United States Marines who are on the ground are providing those reinforcements to ensure the environment is peaceful so that these raids and deportations can continue.
But he realizes they can't actually arrest people unless he invokes the Insurrection Act, which, I mean, seemingly was not something that was in Secretary Noem's memo, a clear distinction she did not make there.
Again, you're trying to conflate a letter that was sent to the Department of Homeland Security to the president's legal authority. The president understands the legal authority that he invoked, and that's the current situation right now.
When it comes to federalizing the National Guard, what is the specific criteria that the president is using for when he's deciding to do that, and in which states?
The president was asked and answered this yesterday. He wants to see an end to the chaos and the violence. He doesn't want to see law enforcement officers being attacked. He wants to see peace. He wants law-abiding Californians to be able to bring their kids to school, to be able to go to work without seeing this violence in the streets. That's what the president's hoping for, and that's why he's taken this action. John.
You know what? I mean, but Caitlin Collins, she does make these interviews interesting because she asks a lot of stupid questions like that. We got to give her, what's up, Lewis? We got to give her credit for being a dumbass. Let me tell you something. Once the Marines hit the ground yesterday, if you notice, when the Marines hit the ground yesterday, or was it this morning? But anyway, when they hit the ground, you notice in all the videos, they didn't attack those Marines. They kept attacking the police officers as far as physically, but they didn't physically, at least I didn't see any videos of them attacking Marines, because understand, the Marines will blow your brains out. They're not there to play games with you. They're not there to play footsies and tag and fire tear gas and rubber bullets at you. They're there to blow your brains out. That's what their mission is. Their mission is to protect law enforcement. They're Marines. They're not trained to be your friend. They're trained to kill. They are the ultimate fuck around and find out. And if Trump institutes the Insurrection Act, because they're trying to let this protest, or should I say this insurrection, they're trying to let it dissipate, but you're on day 5, day 6, and it's not going away. It's still happening. If he institutes the Insurrection Act, blood in the streets, I'm telling you. I hope this doesn't happen, but those people may delete one of those soldiers and all hell will break loose. Yeah. You say I disagree. They're there for good Samaritan training. Oh, good simulated training. Yeah, well, I think you meant Samaritan. It's fine. You know, I know all the correct. But they're there to pet puppies and kittens and help old ladies cross the street with their little milk. Yeah, you I swear to God, you really trying to FAFO. You really trying to FAFO, and you will not win. You will not win.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions on 2 separate topics. One has to do with the military parade taking place here in Washington this weekend. There's a lot of security around the White House complex, around the Capitol complex, even along the tidal basin. Is that just proactive? Are you expecting anything in particular in terms of unrest like we've seen in Los Angeles?
These are proactive security measures to protect those marching in the parade, many of whom will be veterans and our brave men and women in uniform and Gold Star families. There's going to be military families from around the country who are flying into this parade. And of course, it's to protect the spectators who will be enjoying this incredibly patriotic show on Saturday. And I hope you all join us there.
And then secondly, Secretary Pete Hegseth testified on the Senate side of the Capitol today.
Yes.
And he was asked about America's the administration's view of Vladimir Putin's intentions. And specifically, it was asked whether or not his intentions go beyond, his territorial ambitions go beyond Ukraine. When that question was posed to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane replied that he does believe that his territorial ambitions go beyond Ukraine. But Secretary Hegseth says it's not clear at this point. How does the president view this issue?
The president has spoken on this. He said, as he calls it, he believes Ukraine was always the apple of Putin's eye. And he made it very clear to Putin in his first term not to invade Ukraine. Putin didn't invade Ukraine because of President Trump's peace through strength foreign policy agenda and the effective deterrence policies that he implemented in the first term. Unfortunately, because of the weakness and incompetence of the previous administration, Vladimir Putin made the decision to invade Ukraine. And now we have this brutal war, which the president is working very hard to end. Jasmine.
Thanks so much, Caroline. The president warned that any protests on Saturday would be met with force. Can you clarify what kind of protest President Trump does support or find acceptable?
The president absolutely supports peaceful protests. He supports the First Amendment. He supports the right of Americans to make their voices heard. He does not support violence of any kind. He does not support assaulting law enforcement officers who are simply trying to do their job. It's very clear for the president what he supports and what he does not. Unfortunately for Democrats, that line has not been made clear, and they've allowed this unrest and this violence to continue, and the president has had to step in.
So if there were peaceful protests on Saturday for the military parade, President Trump would allow that?
Of course the president supports peaceful protests. What a stupid question. Raquel.
Caroline.
Raquel, and then I can go to you, Francis. Go.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Oh, she'd be killing me.
One about Israel. Yesterday, the U.S. ambassador to Israel said the U.S. no longer is pursuing the goal of an independent Palestinian state. Can you confirm that the president is no longer supporting a two-state solution? And is President Trump considering diplomatic action against countries who takes action against Israel during next week UN conference?
Right now, the president views the situation in Israel and Gaza as deeply unfortunate and needing to end. And the president is realistic about the current state of affairs in this region of the world. And that's why the president has said the number one focus and priority of the administration is to release all of the hostages from Gaza and to end this conflict as soon as possible. The administration is still pushing very hard for the release of all the hostages. And as for what happens next, clearly Gaza is an uninhabitable place. It needs to be rebuilt with the help of our Arab partners, and the president wants to see that happen as well. Take a couple
Just one on the G7 engagement. President Trump is traveling there on Sunday. other presidents beyond the G7 leaders are also going. President Lula from Brazil, President Sheinbaum from Mexico, and President Zelensky from Ukraine are also going. Do you have confirmation if President Trump is meeting any other leaders on the sideline of the G7?
Yes.
To know about the Lula engagement with Lula.
I can confirm there will be quite a few bilateral meetings between the president and other foreign leaders. The White House is still working very hard to finalize that schedule, and we will provide that for you as soon as we have it.
Thanks, Kelly. Just back to the China trade deal. Can you talk about the status of the export controls that the U.S. imposed? Are those no longer being imposed?
We are fully complying with the Geneva Agreement.
See, I told you that twice.
Thanks, Carolyn. One foreign question for you and one domestic. The foreign, the president, of course, has said he would lift sanctions on Syria. Is there an executive order coming along soon to go do that? And is the president planning to try to get involved in any kind of a peace agreement between Israel and Syria that would disengage those two?
To the best of my knowledge, the Treasury Department took action after the president made that announcement in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. And then on the domestic side, you were just asked about the First Amendment rights issues. In the president's comments yesterday, though, he just said protesters would be strongly dealt with. In your list before, you referred to insurrectionists, rioters, and protesters together. Obviously, they're quite different from your earlier answer. I'm struck by the fact that the president has not at any point said the most important thing here is to protect the First Amendment rights of peaceful protesters. So I'm wondering, where in his hierarchy of interests does he place that? Is the First Amendment protection the most important? Is stopping violence most important? Why is he not out saying all peaceful protesters will be protected?
I think two things can be important at the same time.
What?
And the president, as I just answered, supports the right of Americans to peacefully protest. He supports the First Amendment. But that is not the majority of the behavior that we have seen taking place in Los Angeles. We have seen mobs of violent rioters and agitators assaulting law enforcement officers, assaulting our federal immigration authorities. And we have seen, as I said, this goes back to what this administration is trying to do and accomplish, and that's enforcing law and order in our nation's communities. And it's removing public safety threats from communities in Los Angeles.
You're saying the majority have not been peaceful, the majority have been violent.
I just read for you the arrest numbers. We've arrested nearly 400 illegal aliens alone, just illegal aliens who have been arrested in these riots since June 6th, since they began.
Thousands of people on the streets.
Yeah, and we've had hundreds of people who have assaulted law enforcement officers. Are you saying that that's that's appropriate behavior? Are you saying that the president shouldn't take action?
Then what are you saying?
The Democrat governor and the Democrat mayor of Los Angeles have failed their citizens. And the majority of Americans, the majority of Californians do not want to see law enforcement officers being assaulted in the streets. And thankfully, the president took action and stepped in to protect our federal law enforcement agents, to protect federal buildings, to protect the federal mission of deporting illegal criminals off of our streets. And that mission will continue every day as far as we're concerned. Thank you, guys.
Let me show you this before we get out of here. You see this? This was, well, they updated it for today because it's the other side of the world. It said, go after them and their families. Islamic terror leader calls for assassination of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance in 30-minute rant. Right here. An Islamic terror group leader has released a disturbing video calling for the assassination of Trump, Vance, and several top advisors. He said their strong support for Israel was the reason behind the threat, according to the New York Post. The Yemen-based figure, Saad bin Atef al-Awlaki, who is the leader of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. In a disturbing 34-minute video titled Inciting the Believers, released on Sunday, the terror leader urged American Muslims to take revenge and strike at those he called infidel Americans, which is everybody. He named Trump, Vance, as well as figures like Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and billionaire Elon Musk. Go after them and their families and all those who have any ties or are close to the politicians of the White House, that he said. And then you wonder why they're getting rid of while they're revoking student visas and while they're doing these mass deportations. Because these people are all in our communities, especially Lewis, you know, you up there in New Jersey. You remember we did that whole thing where they took over a town up there. So I'm wondering when they're going to let one of the men from this space in the room. I see Keisha. It was black men. You know, we see black dudes in there. See, is that a dude behind him with the pink tie? Let's see, Carlton. Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Did I kill it? No, I didn't. Hold on. Let me see what y'all talking about. Let's see here. Let's do a full room scope. All right. Do a full room scope. Okay, let's see here. That's a Keisha. Let's see here. Let's see if we got some brothers in this room. I can't really tell because this is kind of muddled. I can't really tell. This is a little muddled, but yeah, I do see some Keishas. But most times there's some brothers sprinkled in. I believe that's a brother right here, that the fat dude with the afro, with the fake hair afro. I think that might be him right here. I'm not sure, but you know, it'd be some brothers in there sometimes. But you have to get these people up out of here. Like he further said, there are no red lines after what has been happening to our people in Gaza, and endorsed recent anti-Semitic attacks and prior assassination attempts on Trump, according to security sources. The video also includes a broader incitement of violence against Jewish people in the U.S. Do not leave a single safe place for Jews, just as they have not left any homes, shelters, or respite for the Palestinians, he said. Even hospitals are being bombed. Take revenge. So, let's see. He became the head of, AQUAP in March 2024 and has a $6 million U.S. bounty on his head offered by the State Department. Wow. $6 million, huh? Where you? Let's see. AQUAP is officially designated a foreign terrorist organization by the U.S. government. The Associated Press reported that al-Awlaki's video was his first since assuming leadership, and also urged lone wolf attacks targeting leaders in Egypt, Jordan, and Gulf states over the Gaza conflict. According to analysts, AQUAP appears to be trying to regain prominence amid growing tensions in Gaza and rising influence of the Iran-backed Houthi movement in Yemen. You know what? Just drone strike this fool and get it over with. Just drone strike him. You can find him. He's not hard to find. He's not hard to find. And this is the guy. Remember they were talking about the mask that they were passing out? 6 million. Let's get them, boys. Right. Let's go and get us some tickets. Pretend to be tourists. But this is the guy that was passing out the mask. See, a photo has surfaced of the man behind the wheel of a truck used to deliver and hand out tens of thousands of dollars worth of face shield masks to rioters in Los Angeles. He is reportedly affiliated with Local 399, a Southern California chapter of the Teamsters for a Democratic Union. And this is the guy that was, and this guy here, this is the one that was throwing the Molotov cocktails. Yeah, this is a previously deported illegal alien from Mexico who they say was caught on video throwing a Molotov cocktail at law enforcement during the riots in LA on Saturday. Emiliano Garduno Galvez will be charged with attempted murder. He has prior arrests in Long Beach for DUI and grand theft in Anaheim. Yeah, so, you know, here he is loading it up and everything. I'm not going to show him throw it, you know, because, you know, guidelines. Oh, and by the way, let's see. This guy, this reporter right here.
He wasn't a member.
This guy right here, he got suspended from ABC because he called Trump and Hegseth big time. No, Trump and Stephen Miller. He called Stephen Miller a big time hater because Stephen Miller is not for illegal immigration. So understand that ABC, they just had to pay out $15 million to the Trump Presidential Library because, you know, one of their anchors, I think it was Wolf Blitz or whatnot, he kept calling Trump a rapist, saying he was convicted of rape when he wasn't. So Trump sued them for defamation and won, just like he's about to win against CBS, that $20 billion lawsuit. So yeah, so he tweeted some stupid shit and, you know, they suspended him till his contract is up. Like, dude, like, you cannot be playing with the money. You cannot be playing with the money. What are you doing? But at any rate, fellas, I mean, I'll say it, like all of last year, I was getting my water, toilet paper, food, gas, all of that, and my personal protection stuff. I was getting home protection. I was just stockpiling that. Because had Kamala won, we would be in worse shape today than we are now. But the way it's going, there's no telling which way all of this stuff is going to fall. So it's better to be safe than be sorry. That's all I can say. All right. I guess, let's see, what's tomorrow? Thursday? Say same. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see. I might be on tomorrow. I don't have anything personally planned until Saturday. But yep, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all. Oh, and let me know what y'all think about the new ending. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below. I will catch y'all tomorrow if I can.
Demon King Satan.
And what?
Demon King Satan. Satan!
Nope, not
Satan!
Satan!
Satan! Satan! Satan!
I actually felt retarded, like really retarded. I mean, I brushed my teeth retarded. I rode the bus retarded. In a weird way, I had to sort of just free myself up to believe that it was okay to be stupid or dumb.
To be a moron.
Yeah,
to be Barack.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you.
All right, hi. Thanks for the fun.
Get the fuck